Welcome back to Iraqi Dinar Intelligence. Before we get started, I want you to think about one important question, one that many people never seriously consider until it's too late. Imagine the day finally arrives when the Iraqi dinar becomes exchangeable at a value you're happy with. You've waited for years. You've followed the news, watched countless videos, read endless opinions, and kept track of every rumor and headline. But when that moment finally comes, will you actually know what to do? Most people spend years focusing on one thing, the exchange rate. Yet very few spend time preparing for what happens after the exchange. And that's where costly mistakes can happen. Today's video isn't about predictions, rumors, or speculation. It's about preparation. We're going to discuss the important questions you should consider asking your bank before exchanging your Iraqi dinar. Knowing the process ahead of time can help you avoid confusion, reduce unnecessary stress, and make better financial decisions if that opportunity ever becomes available. Stay with me until the end, because the information we're covering today could save you time, help you avoid expensive mistakes, and give you greater confidence if you ever find yourself sitting across the desk from a bank representative. Let's begin. The first piece of advice is simple. Don't walk into a bank without a plan. Many people imagine that exchanging currency will be quick and straightforward. They picture handing over the notes, signing a few documents, and walking out with funds immediately available. Real-world financial transactions, especially large ones, rarely work that way. Banks operate under detailed procedures. They must verify identities, review documentation, follow internal compliance policies, and meet regulatory requirements. Their goal is accuracy and security, not speed. If you arrive carrying a significant amount of foreign currency without understanding the bank's process, you could find yourself facing delays, additional paperwork, or questions you weren't expecting. That's why preparation is so valuable. Instead of spending all your energy trying to predict what the exchange rate might be someday, spend some time understanding how the exchange process actually works. Learn which department handles foreign currency transactions. Find out whether appointments are required for larger exchanges. Ask what documents are typically requested and what steps usually come. First, you're not trying to rush anyone or demand special treatment. You're simply gathering information before you need it. That preparation gives you something extremely valuable, confidence. When other people are reacting emotionally, you'll already understand the process. You'll know what questions to ask, what paperwork to bring, and what to expect next. Preparation reduces uncertainty, and uncertainty is often what causes poor financial decisions. Now let's talk about one of the first questions many people think about asking a bank. Do you currently exchange Iraqi dinar? At first glance, that seems like the obvious question. However, it's important to understand the context. If you call a bank today, there's a good chance you'll receive a very general answer. Some institutions may say they don't currently offer that service. Others may explain they aren't set up to process that particular currency. Some employees may simply be unfamiliar with it altogether. That response doesn't necessarily tell you what could happen under different circumstances in the future. Instead of focusing only on whether they exchange the currency today, shift the conversation toward understanding their procedures. Ask how they generally handle foreign currency transactions. Ask whether they have a dedicated foreign exchange department or specialists who assist customers with large international transactions. Ask how unusual currency exchanges are normally processed. These are practical questions that bank employees can often answer because they relate to procedures rather than speculation. Notice the difference. You're not asking anyone to predict future events. You're asking them to explain how their institution normally handles foreign currency services. That's a much more productive conversation. If the bank doesn't currently exchange Iraqi dinar, you can still ask what documentation would typically be required if such a service became available in the future. Keeping the discussion professional helps you gather useful information without relying on rumors or opinions. Next, let's talk about something many people overlook: the way exchange rates are actually calculated. Most people become completely focused on the number itself, but experienced investors know there's another factor that matters just as much: the spread. The spread is the difference between buying and selling prices, and it can significantly affect the amount you ultimately receive. That's why it's important to understand how a bank determines its exchange rates. Ask whether rates are based on live market pricing, internal pricing models, or another established method. Also ask whether larger transactions follow the same pricing structure as standard retail exchanges. These questions aren't about negotiating a better deal. They're about understanding how the bank calculates the final amount you'll receive. Remember, the number you may see reported online isn't always identical to the rate offered at a branch. Every financial institution has its own policies. The more you understand those policies beforehand, the easier it becomes to compare your options and make informed decisions. Clear questions often lead to clear answers, and clear answers help you avoid costly misunderstandings later.